kind of pit bull. Like Sibulkova was a little bit like that to me as well.
Obviously, one of the storylines last week was Alex Eala and the massive crowds that she was bringing to Dubai. I think it was perhaps maybe more notable there because that's not a tournament that...
It's not like, they had cell phones and everything. It was rough. Then all hell broke loose at the press conference in Forest Hills. That's when I famously said I want to be number one. Little did I know that I would, you just don't realize you're in the middle of a...
Have you ever seen a tournament where the biggest attraction wasn't the defending champion, the world number one, or even a Grand Slam winner? That was the unusual reality unfolding in Stuttgart. Before a single major match had even been played, something unexpected was already happening around Alexia. She wasn't arriving as the favorite, nor was she the player most people expected to dominate the headlines. In fact, she wasn't even supposed to be part of the main story. A late withdrawal opened the door, and Ella entered the draw as a replacement. Under normal circumstances, that would have been nothing more than a brief footnote. Instead, it quickly became clear that this situation was anything but ordinary. Within days, fans were gathering around her practice sessions, crowds followed her throughout the venue, and the atmosphere surrounding her felt completely different from what anyone had anticipated. What should have been a routine tournament appearance was rapidly becoming one of the biggest talking points in women's tennis. As the tournament progressed, it became impossible to ignore what was unfolding.
Alex Eala, the teenager from the Philippines, who didn't have to play today.
You're calling it.
She's winning the tournament.
Eala?
Yep.
Oh,
wow. Why do you say that?
Mic drop from Anacomb.
I don't have to elaborate.
How is she going to beat Iga?
No, I think, look, it's been so much fun to watch her play. I love the fact that she's been able to take power and use it against her opponent. I think Iga probably has a little too much horsepower and experience for her in all seriousness.
Stepping back now?
Yeah, but I want, this is how I get the microphone. This is how I get my ability to talk. I say something.
What happened next caught even experienced tournament officials off guard. Ticket demand began rising at a pace no one had predicted. Fans weren't just showing up for the matches, they were arriving hours early, hoping to secure the best possible view of Ella's practice sessions and warm-ups. Social media quickly filled with discussions about sold-out seats, long lines, and packed walkways. Suddenly, even ordinary early-round matches felt more like semi-final events. With each passing day, the excitement spread throughout the venue, creating an atmosphere unlike anything organizers had expected. Security staff reportedly found themselves managing larger crowds than anticipated, while tournament officials faced logistical challenges that normally wouldn't arise until the final weekend. What made it even more remarkable was that this surge of attention wasn't being driven by a deep championship run, but by pure anticipation. Fans simply wanted the chance to witness the young star everyone was talking about. As the excitement continued to grow, one obvious question emerged: why was a single player generating this extraordinary level of interest? The answer would soon prove to be much bigger than tennis itself.
To watch their player. And I'm wondering if you can tell us, in terms of her actual tennis, what is it that she does so well?
Well, there's a lot of things that she does really well. And I think there's a lot of things that make her opponents feel very uncomfortable. One of the things that she can't control is that she's a left-handed. There's always something about playing a left-hander that you get pulled out of the court a little bit differently. Her forehand is really good, but I think her backhand is better. Her backhand is a little bit more of an aggressive shot. The combination of her aggressive baseline shots with her backhand and then the ability to hit a heavier spin and make your opponents to kind of step.
When fans create excitement, people notice. But when legends start talking, the entire sport pays attention. As the crowd surrounding Eala continued to grow, respected voices across the tennis world began discussing the phenomenon. Analysts who normally focused on rankings and results found themselves examining something entirely different. They weren't just looking at statistics, they were looking at influence, impact, and the remarkable attention a young player was generating on a level usually reserved for established superstars. Conversations spread about how Eala's presence was transforming the atmosphere of entire tournaments. Some commentators openly expressed surprise at the extraordinary fan engagement surrounding her matches, while others pointed to the genuine emotional connection she had built with supporters around the world. The more experts analyzed the situation, the clearer it became that this wasn't simply a temporary wave of popularity. Something much bigger was unfolding. Yet attention alone means very little if it isn't backed by performances on the court, and for Eala, her results were about to make the story even more remarkable.
And she's like, oh, I want to go watch Alex Eala play. Like, oh my gosh, I want to watch. She's crazy about Alex. She's like, I'm going to come watch her when she plays on Thursday. And I was like, I'm going to be playing on Thursday. She's like, oh, yes, you too. Yes. I'm going to come watch you too. And I was like, what? Mom, what are you doing?
Didn't you say that she wanted to make her a Filipino dish?
Yeah. And my mom went to US Open last year. Alex was obviously huge then. And she was like, oh my gosh, I want to see Alex.
Talent creates interest, but victories create belief, and that's exactly what happened as Eala continued building momentum. Every breakthrough performance added another chapter to her growing reputation, turning matches that once seemed daunting into opportunities to prove herself against the sport's elite. Historic milestones soon followed, with records that had stood untouched for years beginning to fall. Each achievement carried meaning not only for Eala personally but also for Philippine tennis as a whole. Fans watched as she advanced deeper into major tournaments and challenged opponents many had considered untouchable. The emotional reactions that followed those victories only strengthened the bond she shared with supporters. Through interviews, she came across as humble and grounded despite the growing spotlight, while moments highlighting her family, national pride, and personal sacrifices resonated with audiences around the world. Her journey was no longer just about winning matches, it had become a symbol of hope, determination, and possibility. Yet perhaps the most powerful part of Eala's rise wasn't unfolding on the court at all.
I'm so blank. I'm thinking of my parents who are watching now. Mom, Dad, naku ako, oh my God! I can't call them because I have this interview, but I'll call them after. Anyway, yeah, that's it.
In terms of the tennis, what did you think you did particularly well today?
Oh, I don't know. I just kept my head down and I kept running. I knew she was...
Every star needs support, but what developed around Eala felt different. Wherever she competed, passionate Filipino fans transformed entire sections of stadiums into what felt like home court environments. Their energy was impossible to miss, and their presence became one of the defining stories of every tournament. Fellow players joked about it, commentators highlighted it, and opponents experienced it firsthand. Matches that should have felt neutral suddenly echoed with the cheers of thousands of supporters waving Philippine flags and celebrating every point with remarkable enthusiasm. For many fans, Eala represented far more than athletic success. She embodied history, representation, and national pride. People who had never closely followed professional tennis suddenly found themselves deeply invested in her journey, while entire communities rallied behind every milestone she achieved. The result was an atmosphere unlike anything most tournaments had anticipated. As those crowds continued to grow and their impact became impossible to ignore, a new debate began capturing the attention of the tennis world.
That you really bond with in those moments?
I love Jenny Brady. She's hilarious.
Yep.
So whenever I'm feeling a little down or something's happening, I'll always go to Jenny because she'll have something funny to say about it and we'll get a little laugh going. So yeah, Jenny, Alex Eala, she'll also have some good laughs in those crazy moments. So you really have to have humor with it. I mean, we're going through all sorts of things, so you kind of just have to be humorous about it.
The growing popularity surrounding Eala raised questions that few people expected to ask. Could one player's fan support influence the way tournaments operate? Could audience demand become just as important as rankings when it comes to attracting attention and shaping schedules? Rumors began circulating online suggesting that some events were paying closer attention to attendance patterns linked to certain players. While these discussions remain speculative and there is no official confirmation that any tournament has changed its policies because of Eala specifically, the conversations themselves highlight an important shift. Tennis may be entering an era in which fan engagement carries more influence than ever before. Social media, global communities, and digital visibility are reshaping the way athletes build audiences, and Eala's rise appears to be at the center of that transformation. Whether intentional or not, she has become part of a broader conversation about the future of the sport. What happens next could determine whether this moment becomes a memorable chapter in tennis history or the beginning of something even bigger.
Cone open like it was a real open. We're going to boom off the stage in a second because you can't go back.
Look, seriously,
Should be rested.
I expect her to have a really good showing. I do think Iga's got too much firepower, but I think this is a really big new beginning. We're going to see a lot of good tennis from her, and I think it's going to be a really exciting time. I was jesting. I think she's going to be a little bit short tomorrow. But see how I got
tomorrow? You went all the way to the title.
I got controlled the microphone that way. As soon as I did that, you guys were like...
The most surprising part of this story may be that it is still only beginning. Alex Eala has already achieved milestones that many players spend entire careers pursuing. She has broken barriers, inspired millions, and captured the attention of tennis fans around the world, yet she remains one of the sport's youngest rising stars. With every tournament, expectations continue to grow, and each match feels more significant than the last. Fans are no longer asking whether she belongs on the biggest stages. Instead, the conversation has shifted to just how far she can go and what remarkable achievements may still lie ahead.
Are the first woman from the Philippines to defeat a Grand Slam champion, also the first woman from the Philippines to defeat a top 10 player in the last 35 years. What does this mean not only for you and your family, but for your whole country?
You have to ask the country. I don't know.
What do you think?
I feel like, growing up, it was tough because you didn't have anyone from where you're from to pave the way. And of course, you had many people.
They're no longer asking whether Alex Eala belongs among the sports elite, they're asking how far she can go. Could she become one of the biggest names in women's tennis? Could she inspire an entirely new generation of players? Could her influence one day rival that of the sport's most recognizable figures? For now, no one knows the answers. What Stuttgart revealed, however, is impossible to ignore. Alex Eala is no longer simply a promising prospect, she has become a player who commands attention wherever she goes. If recent events are any indication, the tennis world may have witnessed only the opening chapter of a remarkable journey that is still unfolding.